The Comcast Preferred Plus Triple Play with a free high-def TV. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Bravo!
Music is discovered where once there was none. At Luray Caverns, what will you discover?
It's a somewhat mysterious disease. Doctors do know what causes it, but it's often misdiagnosed. Now, Lyme disease is the subject of a new documentary called Under Our Skin.
Everybody's telling you it's in your head. You know it's not in your head.
We don't think there's anything wrong with you.
There is nothing wrong.
We've done your labs. Your labs are fine. You're fine.
There's no medicine for someone like you. You're an attractive girl, and obviously you don't feel like you're getting enough attention.
Filmmaker Andy Abrahams-Wilson joins us live along with Mandy Hughes, who has Lyme disease and is featured prominently in the documentary. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Mandy, tell me, what kind of symptoms do you experience?
Initially, you would experience things like headaches, shakiness, dizziness, sometimes heat intolerance. That's what I experienced, and then that gradually progressed to more such as Bell's palsy and unsteady gait, and then I was also in a wheelchair and in bed for a lot of the time.
My goodness. And Andy, you talk about how often this is misdiagnosed. Why is it misdiagnosed?
Well, it's misdiagnosed because there's not enough information. The medical community does not have consensus around this disease, exactly what the symptoms are, exactly how it can be diagnosed, and exactly how it can be treated.
And it is scary because there were 21,000 cases of Lyme's disease diagnosed, and that's diagnosed last year, and it's up significantly since 1991. And it's the kind of thing, anybody that spends any time in the woods, for instance, if you take any walks, you just live in an area with trees or where deer are, and they seem to be encroaching more and more in backyards. That's where this can happen, correct?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Because we're looking at the shot of the ticks that are associated with deer ticks, and they're smaller than the bigger ones a lot of people see. And what do you think should be done, Andy, to make this come out better for the people that suffer like Mandy?
Well, again, we need awareness, I think, and that is the purpose of the film, to bring about awareness on a massive level. We don't have that awareness right now. People don't understand what to look for, what are the classic symptoms of Lyme disease. And I think there are thousands and thousands of people who have Lyme disease and are not, and don't know they have Lyme disease.
Yeah, and defending the medical industry just for a moment, it does seem like it is difficult, as you're saying, to identify this. Is the medical community doing something wrong, you think?
Well, I think part of the problem is what makes it so difficult to diagnose is it's multi-system and multi-symptom. So it's not, it can't be treated as a cookie-cutter disease. It's very similar to syphilis. The syphilis bacterium is actually a cousin of the Lyme bacterium. They're both spirochetes, and they have very similar symptomology. And if you know anything about syphilis, you know that it attacks different systems of the body and has many different manifestations, and that's what we're looking at with Lyme disease.
Yeah. Now, Mandy, I noticed you are not in a wheelchair at this point. I don't know if you are typically, but has treatment enabled you to improve?
Yes. I was in a wheelchair. I am no longer in a wheelchair, and I'd say back to 90%, and that's having to do with proper medical treatment.
But first it has to be diagnosed correctly, I take it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think what's important to say, Mandy is better today because she was treated by Lyme literate physicians. And had Mandy followed the standard guidelines, standard treatment for Lyme disease, which is about 2 weeks of antibiotics, she likely would still be in a wheelchair or worse.
Oh.
Originally, when diagnosed, I did have 2 weeks of antibiotics. However, the disease came back.
Okay.
And so it was a little difficult to figure out what it was at the time.
Well, thank you so much, Mandy and Andy, for being with us and shedding light on this, because a lot of people worry about getting Lyme disease, and there is a lot of ignorance. All of us have it. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
And for more information on when and where you can see under our skin, go to myfoxdc.com and look under Seen on TV along the right side of our homepage.
8:26 now. More than 1,000 restaurants in our area shut down today.